the 1930s, when the skis were solid hickory and the bindings just a couple of cable springs, they came here to the slopes of Mount Washington to compete in a race called the Inferno.
It was the hardest from the standpoint of fatigue, and it was the hardest from the standpoint of possibility of getting killed.
It's, I think, the closest you come to a free fall. That is.
Held only a handful of times because of poor weather conditions, the 4-mile course ran straight down the near vertical 900-foot headwall of Tuckerman's Ravine.
I have never seen such great snow conditions in the ravine as there were on that day. It was beautiful black powder snow.
It was mid-April, and 19-year-old Herbert Schneider was there helping racer Tony Matt carry his equipment up the mountain that day. Tony, who was fresh from winning the national championships in Colorado that year, had grown up with Herbert in Austria.
As we walking up over the head wall, I asked him, well, Tony, what do you think we're going to do down this thing? I said, I'm going to make 3 parallel crests down the head wall, and that will be it.
Eddie Wells was 22 years old and a medical student at Dartmouth College. He was to start 7th in the race that day.
The real trick to doing well on the Tuckerman's Ravine run is to take the right track on the slopes of the cone of the mountain and to do the head wall without killing yourself. After that, it was a simple run.
That meant taking long, gradual turns down the 50-degree slope of the ravine. Up until then, nobody had ever skied straight down the head wall.
I remember that I wasn't long before I was so tired, I wish to hell I'd never gotten in the race. There was a point coming down the snowfield when I wasn't sure I was on the right track. But eventually I could see some control flags which were placed just above the lip of the ravine. And then I headed for those and I went through those. There were about 3 gates, I think. And then I went down over the head wall, and I went sideways across and around.
Back up at the top of the mountain, Tony Matt prepared for his run.
We got ready for the start, so I said to him, he said, well, Tony, he said, I'm going to go because I want to watch you, what you're doing on the head wall. So as I was skiing along on the snowfields, all of a sudden there comes Tony. And so we ski side by side and had a little conversation. I said, what happened? He said, oh, he said, the guy ahead of me, he wasn't quite ready to go, so they told me to go. So, and then he took off. So I never saw him really take the head wall, but as we talked about it later on, he sort of miscalculated. He made his 3 turns before he got to the head wall. So once he got to the head wall, there was nothing else left for me than to go straight.
Some said he hit speeds of 60 miles an hour as he came down the ravine that day. Carrying that speed through the slower part of the course, Tony Matt cut the previous course record in half, finishing the 4-mile race in just 6.5 minutes. Ed Wells finished the race in 3rd place.
I remember at the foot of the Inferno, I said to myself, you damn fool, you're never going to do that again. My legs ached so you wouldn't believe it. Just burned and ached. Sometimes they had medals, things like that, but occasionally they'd have a cup for the winner or something, but prizes weren't the point.
In 1940, Ed Wells was selected for the Olympic team. That same year, World War II started, and the Olympics were never held. He did, however, finish medical school and went on to become the first resident in radiology at the Hitchcock Clinic. As for the Inferno, well, it was held only 2 other times, in 1953 and again in 1983. The unpredictable weather and the danger of avalanches have been cited as the reasons for the race's demise.